That is the order in which OS loads the DLL. Now let's come to the DLL hijacking scenario. So basically, what is DLL hijacking? Till now we have covered what is DLL and the DLL loading order into the memory. So a small scenario to explain the DLL hijacking. I think by using the image on the screen, you would be able to see it clearly. Let us assume we are having a program A or a binary called program.a.exe. It basically asks the OS for a particular DLL called abc.dll. It says OS, okay, resolve this particular DLL, that is, search for this DLL and load that particular DLL into the memory. Now here, just to illustrate, if you can see the diagram, what is happening? The OS is loading the abc.dll, but not the real DLL that it has to pick from C Windows System 32. Rather than it's picking the hacker's DLL, which is residing along with the program A.exe itself. So now you may ask, how will the hacker place his DLL along with the program A? So these days we are downloading most of the exe into either the download folder or inside the temp folder. Now what hacker can do, he can create a malicious link, or he may ask you to click on that link and it will download the DLL into the download folder or some other folder or the temp folder. Now whenever you are downloading the real exe, the real program, that is say program A.exe, it will definitely search for abc.dll, and the hacker itself, knowing that okay, this program depends on abc.dll, that's why he has placed abc.dll inside the download folder. And if you are invoking your program A.exe from downloads folder itself, then what would happen? If you are just, I'm just going back to the search order, the directory from which the application is loaded, that is, here in our case it is download folder. Let us assume it is download folder. So the abc.dll will be find here only, and the OS will load this abc.dll. It will not go beyond to the, it will not go beyond in the search path, and it will not print, it will not load from that system directory. So just case, so what OS will be doing? It's loading the DLL from the very first location it's found. So in this case, this particular hacker's DLL is got loaded, and now hacker have access to the. So if the program is loaded with admin rights, hacker can perform many things, like it can modify registry value, it can wipe out some data, it can wipe out some files, it can whatever he wants to do, he can do. And if the program is not launched with the admin rights, still he can modify anything, or he can read many files, many important files or many user data files which is present in that particular machine. So DLL hijacking, in nutshell, what is happening in DLL hijacking? Instead of using the desired DLL or instead of using the required DLL, what my program is doing, it's using the corrupt DLL. So if I want to do DLL hijacking, what my aim is? My aim is to prompt you to use the corrupt DLL rather than the real DLL, and just to position my corrupt DLL in such a way that it is searched before the real DLL path. So in nutshell, this is the DLL hijacking. I'm hoping that I am clear till now, and in case you have any doubt, please feel free to ask me a question. I'm assuming that no one is having any question, since I cannot see any question, so I will be moving ahead. Now, there are many examples, there are many cases where the DLL hijacking can take place. Let us assume you have a shortcut to any exe placed on your desktop. So what a hacker can do, he can place his corrupt DLL on the desktop, and whenever you launch the shortcut from the desktop, that corrupt DLL will be loaded. That is one scenario. The other scenario is, suppose you are asking OS for a particular, in a DLL, you are asking OS to, okay, give me the size of this particular file. What hacker can do, he can corrupt the DLL and write a DLL, he can write a corrupt DLL and implement the same method, but instead of giving you the file type, he can perform many other things. So these are the few use cases where the DLL hijacking takes place and hacker can exploit your system. Okay. Now let's go further into detail of DLL hijacking. So here my program is asking the OS to load a particular DLL. Now there can be three scenarios. I will be covering each of them. The first scenario is called resolution failure. What is happening in this case? I am asking the OS to load a particular DLL, but that particular DLL is not present in our system. So there will be an error. How hacker will exploit this situation? What he will do? He will just place his corrupt DLL anywhere inside the path. The path with the 5 path or 6 path which I have stated. In this scenario, he can place anywhere and that particular DLL will be picked. Why? Because since the real DLL doesn't present in the system will search in the path, and if the system finds any DLL, it will simply load the DLL. So it's a very easy win-win scenario for a hacker to hack the system using the corrupt DLL. Now let's get to another situation. Okay, the second scenario is resolution hijacking. What is happening? Here in my code, I am asking the OS to search this particular DLL. I am not providing the fully qualified path because I don't know where this DLL is. So I am asking the OS to give me to load a DLL called abc.dll. In this case, what hacker can do? What OS will do? It will search the DLL in some particular path, in a particular order also. The order we have already discussed earlier. So see, I am just pasting the snapshot. So it basically it's searching in some particular directory. Now how the hacker will exploit this situation? What he will do? He can place his DLL in such a way that that particular path is searched before the real DLL path. So this way, this particular scenario is vulnerable, and the hacker can achieve the same. Resolution hijacking. I'm sorry, this was a slide. Resolution hijacking. The DLL name is, I have said the correct thing, but the slide was this one. The DLL name is specified by the name rather than the full specified path, resulting in iteration to the search directory for the resolution. So this is the scenario. The third and the final one is unsafe resolution in chain DLL loading. Now this is a difficult scenario to avoid. Why? Okay, I have provided the fully qualified path for my DLL. I have asked the OS to load a DLL from C Windows System 32 or some other path, but that particular DLL depends on some other DLL, and for that DLL OS is doing a search. So basically it's extension of the previous one. Instead of, in the previous case, I was asking OS to resolve abc.dll. Here I am providing the OS the fully qualified path of abc.dll, but abc.dll itself depends on many other DLL for which OS is doing a search, recursive search. So in this case, if the hackers know, okay, my program depends on abc.dll and abc.dll itself depends on many other DLL, he can corrupt any of that DLL and place the corrupted DLL in the search order, anywhere in the search order, and it will be picked before that. Okay, so now I will be giving a very small demo, but before that I would like to pause and ask, in case you have any doubt, please feel free to ask me. Till now what we have covered, what is DLL and what is basics of DLL hijacking, and how can the hacker exploit the DLL. Okay, I am getting 3 questions. Let me read one by one and I will try to answer them. How DLL security is important in ASP.NET application? I won't be able to answer it very correctly, but I would like to say, if the application is a desktop application, definitely it will require some DLLs, and in case you're not designing your application in such a way, or you're designing your application in such a way that it is asking OS to load these particular DLLs, and you're not providing the fully qualified path of some other widgets which will be discussed later, then this particular application is vulnerable. I'm not sure whether I have answered your question or not, but I don't have that much idea of ASP.NET. I'm basically C++ developer. What type of coding, what type of content or coding DLL has? Okay, that's a good question. So DLL, basically DLL is, we can compare DLL with a library. So DLL will export some methods, and we will be calling those particular methods in our application. A very basic example, every one of us uses, while doing the C++ coding, or while every one of us uses printf or something like that. So it might be possible that printf is implemented somewhere else in the library, and we are calling that particular method. Or if or there are many other methods. Suppose I want to know the file size, so I will call get file size of a particular DLL method. So what type of content or coding? DLL, you can write DLL in any language, say C, C++, or I think in C# also you can write the DLL. Okay, where can I enable save DLL search mode? Okay, by default Windows 7 and onwards, the save DLL search mode is enabled. So if you are using Windows 7 or onwards, we need not to worry for save DLL search mode. But with XP, we may need to enable it, save DLL search mode. So we need to call a method of Microsoft. While coding, we need to call a method which enables the save DLL search mode. So I will be showing that thing. Okay. The last question is, the current directory and the directory from which the application is loaded will be the same. No, there is a slight difference. Suppose my application resides in the download folder, and I am invoking the application from command prompt. So I can invoke, say, let us assume in command prompt I am inside the C drive. I can simply give the full path of the exe and invoke the application. Suppose inside the download folder, exe called alpha-beta.exe exists, and I am inside C drive. So what I will write the command prompt, I will give the fully qualified path of abc.dll and just press the enter. In that case, my current directory is C drive, and the directory from which the application is invoked or the loaded is download directory, not the C drive. I hope I have answered your question. There are a few more questions. What is the difference between current directory and the directory from which application is loaded? I have answered that. Is this mode to be enabled, disabled from the application end? I am from Nitin. I am assuming he is asking about the save DLL search mode. Yes, that has to be done from application end. But if you don't want to disable it, and if you are on Windows 7, you need not to do anything for this. This is by default enabled on. How can we enable save DLL search mode? Is there are any other mode also? Yes, there are few other mode also. I will be speaking that later. And we can enable or disable by calling a particular API of MSGN. I will be sharing the reference, and I will be sharing what exactly methods need to call. One more question from Siddesh. But question is, how a hacker can transfer abc.dll to end system where he want to act? Okay. So hacker can, what hacker can do, he can create a malicious link, and if I click on that particular link, it will open a web page, but simultaneously it can download that particular DLL inside the download folder or inside the temp folder. The hacker has done its job. Now suppose I am downloading an application, a very popular application from website, and the application is downloaded inside the download directory. Hacker knows this particular application requires this DLL. Let's call application, say alpha.exe, and alpha.exe depend on a DLL called beta.dll. So the hacker's job is to place beta.dll inside your system. What it will do, it will simply create a malicious link, or it will send you some attachment which will be downloaded to your download folder, and beta.dll will reside inside your system. Now the hacker's job is over. He has to wait for some time until you download the alpha.exe. Now you have downloaded the alpha.exe in your downloads folder. Now both alpha.exe and beta.dll are present inside the downloaded folder. Now, whenever you are launching alpha.exe, instead of picking the real beta.dll, what the application will do, it will pick the hackers beta.dll, and then it will do the work for hacker. Next question is, what is the difference between current directory and directory from application is loaded? I have just answered the question. Just to reiterate, suppose my application resides inside the download folder and I am launching my application via command line, and let us assume I am inside the C directory. So I can invoke a command by giving the fully qualified path of my exe, that is C drive, user, lab user, download, abc.exe. So it will launch the abc.exe. Now in this case my current directory is C drive, but the directory from which application is loaded is download folder. So I hope this answers your question. Okay. Next question is, how hacker design its DLL? Basically, so to design a DLL, hacker must need to know what that particular DLL is doing and what are the functions which are exported from that particular DLL. Now hacker will write the same function. Hacker will create its own DLL with the same name and the function with the same name and same parameter. Just the body of the function will be different. Here he will be writing his logic to do some malicious thing. I hope I have answered all the questions. Please feel free to ping or ask in case I have missed anything. Okay, then I'm moving forward. Please feel free to interrupt in between also whenever you have any doubt. So this is a very small demo. So the demo is also doing the same thing, which I have, the diagram which I have shown. There is a program called program A, and it needs some DLL, and hacker has placed DLL. So let me go to the demo quickly. Are you guys able to see the window? Can someone please?
Yes, so I'm able to see the window, computer local disk demo.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so let us assume a very basic binary called, let us say, .exe, the random name. And this particular binary depends on a DLL which is called, let us say, .dll. Now, in ideal case, this particular DLL will present somewhere inside the system directory. I will be just showing you the window. This was 64, and there is a DLL called, let us say, I think you can see. This is the ideal scenario. Till now, there is no hacking, nothing has taken place. The DLL resides in the C window C64, and my application depends on this particular DLL. What I have done in this, so what DLL is doing, it is doing nothing, but it's just printing whatever you have printing. So basically, DLL is printing whatever you are giving the input. So let's say hello. I'm just typing hello from, and it will print the same. You can see hello from TechGig, and it will be printing some other stuff. Okay, it is a valid DLL. What it's showing, my application is loading a DLL, so I'm just printing the path from this application is loading DLL, and it's saying this particular DLL is loaded from this was 64 as expected, printing the input. Till now there is no problem, the application is running very fine. Now let's simulate the situation. What the hacker has done, he has placed his corrupt DLL along with my application, that is either inside the temp folder or inside the download folder. What I have done in this corrupt DLL, I have just overwritten the system's printf method. I think most of you must have used printf in C code while coding in C. So what I have done, I have just overwritten that printf method, and I am again launching the same binary. And I am printing the writing some text, hello from TechGig. Second time. Ideally, it should print the same string. The output should be similar to the previous one. But now what's happening? It's saying this is not a valid DLL. System has been compromised. Will not print anything. This is the method I am printing from my DLL. So basically, I have overwritten the system's printf method, and I am just printing the something. So what is happening here? Instead of picking the real DLL, it's picking the DLL from this particular directory. Let us say .dll itself. Now you may ask why it was not picking earlier, because earlier the name was something different. It was not with the same name. Even if I rename the same, now my program will start working correctly. Let's see. It started working correctly because it found the correct DLL. So I just wanted to illustrate here what I have done. I have placed my correct DLL in such a way that it is searched. It is searched in a higher manner. It is searched initially rather than, so basically the very first folder from which the OS searches is the directory from which the application is loaded. And I have placed my DLL inside this directory. So the search order for this DLL is very higher. OS is not going inside the third path, that is C Windows System 32, because that comes in the second. But here OS is finding the corrupt DLL in the very first hit, and it will not go beyond, and it will pick the corrupt DLL, it will load this corrupt DLL, and the application will start behaving correctly. You can see the application is same, but behavior is totally different in both scenarios. This is how a hacker can place a corrupt DLL, and he can like manipulate with your application, and your application will not behave as expected, and he can steal steal important data. Okay. So let's come back to the slide. I am assuming everyone is able to see the slide. Okay. So if anyone is not able to see the slide, please type in the question section. I would be happy to assist. I think everyone is able to see the slide.
Yes, so the current slide that is in front of everybody is the demo, placing a DLL in a location that is searched before the real DLL's location.
Thanks a lot, Nanda. Okay, so let's move to that. Now, so this was all about the, basically the presentation is not over. This was all about the DLL hijacking, a small demo, and how the DLL hijacking takes place. Now, the second important aspect of this session is testing approach. Basically, how would I know my application is secure or not? So I have not done that much testing, but whatever I could debug or whatever I could learn during the development phase, I will be sharing that. So the very first approach is manual approach. For that, I was using a tool called dependency walker. The dependency walker lists down all the DLL for which on which my application is dependent. And the very simple approach to test it is place all the DLL, just simply save a text file with that DLL name. So I am saving a text file with some other DLL extension. Say if suppose my application depends on some DLL, say self32.dll or say some abc.dll. So I will just create a dummy abc.dll. I will not write anything. No need to write anything. Just open a text file and save it as abc.dll with all file extensions, and just place it along with your application. Now try to launch your application. If application is scripting or behaving abnormally, or if application is saying unable to launch because this particular DLL is corrupt, or unable to launch this method of this particular DLL, that means your application can be compromised with this particular DLL, and you need to ask your developer to fix this thing. Otherwise, if a hacker is placing a corrupt DLL with the same name and with the same method which your application is calling, your application can behave abnormally and your application can be compromised. This is the manual approach. So it's a little bit tiresome because it will gives you a list of around 30-40 DLL. But yeah, if you want to make your software secure, you have to do this. The second thing is automated. I have there is something called debugging tools for Windows. We need to download and install that on Windows. It's free and comes with MSDN also. Then few basic commands we need to execute. I'm just quoting it from somewhere on the web I found, and I'm just quoting it from there only. So just put the set empty symbol path with the directory wherever you have installed that your debugging tools. Then there are two binaries which comes along with the debugging tools. One is gflag and the second is cdb. So with gflag.exe with some parameters /i and binary.exe is the name of your binary plus SLS snap loader, something like that. So it's enabling the login, and run the cdb.exe with some flags, and it will dump the output to a directory called, dump the output to a file called DLLload.log, whatever you want to name, give the file name you can call it, and your binary. Now you can analyze that particular log file and you can see, okay, my application is loading these particular DLLs and this particular DLL are loading these are DLLs. So here, by analyzing this log file or by parsing this log file, you can write a parser which will tell you, okay, my application is loading these DLLs and these are dependent on chain loading DLL or something like that. And in case you find it's searching in all directories for this particular DLL, that means that particular your application is vulnerable. So you need to write your own parser for the same thing. You can get the log file where it will tell you all the detail. Okay, your application is loading this DLL, it's searching in these many paths, but you need to write your own logic and parser to parse that. So I'm assuming I am clear till now. Okay, so these are the two testing approach. The first one is manual and the second one is automated. You need to write a parser for the same thing. Okay, now comes the